My dad used to put me behind the wheel in his lap and let me drive a Model A pickup. I got to the top and there was a car parked in the normal way to get in. And it overloaded my mind. and my dad grabbed the wheel and everything, and you know, before we knew it, we were down to the thing and we ran into the garage. I can't remember when I didn't want to fly. As a youngster, I had that enthusiasm for aviation, and I really don't know. I was just fascinated by it. I looked up the requirements. You had to be. You had to have 2 years of college in those days, 20 years old, unmarried, and of course physically fit. We went to primary, basic, and advanced schools, and then from Bakersfield I went to Phoenix, Arizona, to Luke Field. And as part of that training, you did actually shoot some 50 caliber mounted on the T6. The famous T6 probably trained more people than anybody in the whole world. Sure enough, my duty assignment came out and I went to a P-51 fighter unit in the San Francisco Bay Area. Here I am, a California boy, and I haven't hardly left the state. Well, when I had the car the whole time we were in training, I had no idea that he had a 39 Ford convertible, tan, and all this. Of course, that's what I had, and I had it from 1941 through 45, and then he sent Ed in there, and he had some tools scattered all over, you know, big tools, hammers and big pipe wrench, you know, and stuff. And Ed says, "Hey, Jack's having a little trouble with a carburetor out there, and he needs your help." And Jack's eyes got a little big, you know, and "Hey, I can't get this screw out. Do you think it'd be all right to use a chisel?" And he says, "Now wait a minute, let's." And then he knew he'd been had when he could see. A very lucky thing happened to me while I was there. I was selected as a member of an original cadre to form up a new fighter group. And this new fighter group was the 357th Fighter Group. And we went over to Hamilton Field where the headquarters was and checked in and learned that we were just on our way to Tonopah, Nevada, which is where we were going to start our training. Every place they had a fighter unit, they usually had a skeet range because shooting at moving targets polished aerial gunnery skills. So we had guns, we had ammo, and we had more game than we ever could have shot. It had been nearly a year since I'd gotten my wings, and I was beginning to wonder if I would ever fight. On November 9th, 1943, we left on a troop train for Camp Shanks, New York. Where we were going was a big secret, supposedly. Yet when we got there, joining up with the 362nd and 354th squadrons, it was clear we were going to England and that we weren't bringing the P-39s along. So, you know, here we are now. We've got the Mustang. We have a requirement in Europe, an urgent requirement for P-51 Mustangs to escort the B-17s. And where do you think the first Mustangs actually went? To what Air Force? We sent them to the 9th Air Force. And they were so wildly successful that the Air Force, 8th Air Force, demanded that they get the P-51. The 357th Fighter Group, the one I was assigned to, was the 2nd Army Air Corps unit to get the new Mustang. It was, well, you know, you were scared. You're scared of the unknown. You didn't know what was going to happen. You know, how am I going to react? Am I going to fight or am I going to run? You know, it's kill or be killed. It's not, you know, this is real. So I'm flying formation with them. We're doing the escorting. And somebody on the radio just says, "Mustang, Mustang, there's one on your tail." And I said, holy smokes, you know. And he zigzagged around a little bit. And I'm saying, boy, I'm right there with him, though. So we keep on going. And he said, "Mustang, Mustang, he's still on your tail, you know." And I said, holy smokes, you know. And so I zipped out a little bit, and the guy hollers again. And so my flight lead then, he just whipped, he thought they were talking about him. And so he took some drastic evasive maneuvers, and I'm staying right with him, you know. And pretty soon he lost me. And I pull up, and there's no airplanes in the sky. You know, a little while ago there was all kinds of airplanes, and here I am over Germany all by myself, the thing you're not supposed to do. Well, fortunately, about, you know, it seemed like forever, but then I saw an airplane, I went up and joined on him, and he was my flight lead. We never found out who the guy was that hollered, you know, and of course I was green. I should have slipped out and looked around and said, "Hey, lead, you're okay, you know, there's nobody behind us," but I had no idea what was going on. I was just hanging on. And that's my first combat experience at all.
Came back from his tour. When he left and he got over to his base and he tried to find Jack, that's when he found out that Jack had been shot down. And then when he came back from his first tour, he came to see me, and I don't know, it just happened. We fell in love with each other, so that's it.
Still, we weren't about to plunge into anything. We promised to write and to see where things went, and we left it at that. And she gave me a picture, and I carried it with me the rest of the war. I carried it right into combat in a small black leather folder we used to carry our identification. I still have that picture in a small leather folder.
Bud Anderson was already an experienced fighter pilot and a flight leader, but he still had to get his first victory in the air. His chance came at 15,000 feet over Germany on March 3rd, 1944.
So we head over there, and the other squadron follows along, and all of a sudden from out here, the B-17's down here, 3 ME-109s come in here. They're bellied up to us. You know, they didn't see us, obviously, because there was, you know, seven or eight of us. They're going after the straggler. So, okay, guys, I'm the flight leader. One of those is mine. And I've got this guy. But we're not in these nice concentric circles. We're coming at each other at really high angles at each other. And I'd say, Jesus, why can't I get on this guy's tail? You know, I can't figure out why I'm not more successful. And so I'm saying, I'm going to pull through him and then fire a burst out here and hope he flies through it. I'd been through 3 gunnery schools and I knew how to shoot quail. So I thought, by God, maybe I'll scare him at least and get him to break out of this thing and I can get on his tail better. You really want to get it back here at 6 o'clock and get into close to shoot somebody. So he comes around, I pull it through. I can't see him, of course, because I'm bellied up like this and he's bellied up like this. I got tracked him very accurately, fired a long burst like that. Not a long burst, but a burst. And when he came into sight, he's cooling, is streaming. He's burst gray smoke just pouring out of him. Lucky shot. I got him with a golden BB. And he pulls up like this right there and bails out immediately. And man, I said, I'm kind of sitting there cheering, and I looked out at my wing, and geez, here's a guy right on my wing. And it was Johnny England Air Force Base. You know where that is? That's the guy that that base was named after. And he'd already had a couple of victories. And we were down low. He had his mask off, and he was laughing, and he went like this, and I thought, wait a minute, did that guy shoot that thing down out from under me? I knew it was a lucky shot, and I just couldn't, and I thought, holy smokes, that wasn't very sportsmanlike, but, I guess there's a war on, it's okay. And so I filed a claim and asked him to hold it. And they looked at me kind of funny when they said that. And I said, yeah, I got to talk to a guy and get a confirmation. So I head over to the club, and where he's in a different squadron, obviously. And so now I'm on the way over there, and I'm thinking, how the hell do I bring this up? I'm going to say, hey, you jerk, did you shoot that thing down out from under me? Or, how am I going to handle this without being a jerk myself? So I go in there, and there he is on the end of the bar, and he comes rushing over to me, and he says, Andy, he says, that's the greatest shot I ever saw. You got that sucker out there at 60 degrees angle off. I go like this, oh, Johnny, lucky shot. That's the story how Bud Anderson got his first victory. Pull up on him, and then get right behind him. That's the way. You don't want to shoot out here at a high angle off. It's impossible to hit.
Jim, take his mic.
And
Jim's going to help you with your mic.
You want me to hold the mic? Not yet. Yeah.
He's not to that point.
The next time he come around and I'm coming at him at this high angle off, this might help a little bit here. What was happening, that he was pulling all this G and I'm pulling, and but then I'm right on top of him, and I'm just following him down. I need two hands to do all this dogfighting here, right?
I was wanting to get in there and help you with it. You need three hands, actually, right now.
Fighter pilots, if I had to sit on my hands, I wouldn't be able to tell you this story. I'm coming at him at this high angle. I'm trying to get in there. I just can't. Then he... put it right there, and I can't get on him, and then he goes by, and then he kind of makes a high angle pass. We got into this circling dogfight. I need a prop here.
This is my job. That's the reason I'm still here.
When you're in a dogfight, you want to get right on a guy's tail, just like this, right here. That's where you want to be. I tell my non-drinking friends, or my Baptist friends, that it's named after the most intelligent bird that flies in the sky, the crow. And that generally is recognized. The crow is a very cagey bird. But my drinking buddies all know it's named after that good old Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey.
So I'm Jim Hagedorn. I'm the CEO of Scott's Miracle-Gro, and that's my bird. Started flying as a kid, went in the Air Force, flew F-16s 7 years, and then been lucky enough to meet a bunch of these people here. So, of course, the star is that old guy right there who is, you know, truly a legend, and like no joke, a fighter pilot legend. Jack Roush, who has added so much to this ability. When I bought my airplane from him, he interviewed me like I was a scrub. And part of it is making sure that if you're going to buy this, you know what it is, that it's a piece of history of the United States. It's important, and that you respect it and share it. And that's part of why we're here.
Jack's a perfectionist. I remember one time I was at Myrtle Beach, and he said, "Is there anything wrong with that airplane?" And I said, "Well, no, but I noticed there was a little vibration." And so you'll be flying along straight, and it'll be steady, and then it'll be steady. And Christ, I think he tore the whole airplane apart and had it propeller rebalanced and things like that. And next time I flew it, boy, that thing was so smooth, I couldn't believe it.
Connie Bolin, who's the president of Warbirds, when I learned to fly the airplane, which, of course, another one of these Jack things, now, you know, he is a little bit of a, you know, I promise not to use a lot of bad language, but he's a little bit of a butthole. Jack made me promise contract. He had a contract that says I can never change the name of the airplane.
I love to fly. I learn something every time I fly, and I enjoy it. And to be able to fly a Mustang at my age is something very special. And not just a Mustang, say a Mustang painted like mine. Do you realize that I've had 4 different airplanes, Old Crows? And there's 2 still up. Two of them are still flying. One of them crashed, and one got sold and is being repainted at the moment. But when I was able to fly those things, I don't know. It was a special event. I think you can imagine. I finished my tour on 15th of January 1945. 2 weeks later, I was back in the United States. I hadn't intended to get married. It just kind of happened. Landed in the States on February 1st, 1945, and married my pen pal, the widow Eleanor Cosby Stacker, 22 days later. It took me a few days to get from the East Coast to California, and I know I asked her at least a week before we got married. Figure it out. The courtship lasted no more than 10 days to 2 weeks. Pretty intense.
I've just been very lucky.
And so is Bud, and you know, we respect each other, and I think that's important.
Boy. You know, I'm coming to think that respecting and liking each other, you put the two together.
Well, you're good friends as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I personally lost two of my good friends that I thought really a lot of, Jim Browning and Eddie Simpson. And I thought so much of them that I actually named my son James Edward Anderson after him.
This is a story about father and son flying a combat mission together. So the mission he picked for us to go on, they had speakers out on the wingtips like this. They'd go over these communist strongholds and propaganda, broadcast propaganda for, so many minutes. Then we'd come by and drop the surrender leaflets or the safe passage. So okay, Dad, just throw out the leaflets. And I leaned over and my favorite knife flipped out of my flight suit and went sailing down into the jungle, followed by lots of leaflets. Anyway, words can't describe the emotions you go through flying on a mission with your own son, a combat mission. But my late wife, Ellie, had a few words to say about it. She was damn glad she didn't know about it until it was all over.
Newcastle was my home of record. I actually lived on a farm, not in a city. And I always felt I never had a hometown, really. And since I moved back here in 1984 for family concerns and things like that, of course Ellie was from Auburn. I've lived now in one place the longest I ever have. And a thing like this, it's just beyond awesome. I really feel like I have a hometown now, Auburn.
Had the honor to help MC a number of presentations that Colonel Anderson has made to the public, both at Oshkosh and some other places around the country. Take note of the fact that he's one of America's greatest heroes. The kind of person, as a man and as a young man, as an adult, that we'd all like to have been ourselves. or we'd certainly like for our children to be. He's a great patriot and a great brave defender of our country and our freedoms. He's one of the world's greatest aviators. But past that, he's one of my dearest friends.